was having this cool conversation with a client just yesterday, and she was talking about how hard transformation was for her. And she was a new client, so we hadn't been working together, but obviously she'd been working on her own transformation journey a lot and extensively for many, many years. And she was talking about how hard the change was and how uncomfortable, in fact, she used the word icky, which was really cool, it was to get into that whole shadow side of herself and figure out what was going on with her and, just really find a way to shift and change that. And it really pinged for me something that I wanted to then talk to you guys about, which is this idea that firstly, change is hard. And secondly, that the work that we have to do with change is to see our bad side and work like crazy to make that bad side go away and replace it with something good in us. And both of those ideas actually are complete garbage. And so I want to share with you why I say so. Firstly, change is not hard because it comes from a change in understanding, not so much from a change in habit. I'm not talking about change your body, lose some weight, go to gym, get stiff and fit. I'm talking about change in how I go about perceiving the world, how I go about experiencing the world, and as a result, how I do life within that world, how I approach the world and come to the world and bring myself to the world. And it used to be true for me that change was hard because I always used to look at the symptoms of what was going on for me, the symptoms of my behavior that I didn't approve of or didn't like or felt were not right or not good enough, and how I would go about changing those symptoms. And that meant paying a lot of attention to those symptoms, a lot of attention to me in every moment, and modifying and correcting and thinking about my behavior all the time. And it was actually hard work and unnecessary. Because the moment I started to see what the underlying beliefs that I held to be true were, that were creating those behaviors, and the moment I started to see that those underlying beliefs were incorrect for me, they weren't serving me, they weren't helping me to live the life that I wanted to live, I started to experience a new way of being in the world. And almost instantaneously, those behaviors went away. So it's not that I had to work on those behaviors, which I tried to do for years and years and years and years. It's that I had to work on the underlying beliefs that sat underneath those behaviors. And generally speaking, those underlying beliefs have got to do with self-esteem, self-worth, my lovability, my sense of safety and security, my sense of myself as enough. Really the biggest underlying belief. Is there space for me to know that I'm enough, even as I'm imperfect, even as I'm incapable of doing certain things or being certain things or creating certain things for myself? Am I enough? It's in that growing towards being enough, despite the fact that you are imperfect and not this amazing magical creature, that we are able to start to see ourselves differently. So change is really easy when we have an insight, a new understanding of how to go about in the world, a new understanding that changes the old understanding that's driving the behavior that we want to change. I hope that's helpful for you to start to think about, actually, maybe I don't have to be working so hard on myself, my behavior, the thing that I'm outputting. All I have to do is start to understand what was the misunderstanding going on below. Not always so easy to do alone, but there are lots of things that will point to it. Really easy to do with the kinesiology if you work with an expert like me, because they already have a good idea what to look for, and your body then speaks and says, this is what's going on. So I do encourage you to start looking a little bit deeper, not at the symptoms. And if you need any help with that, please feel free to call me. Have a gorgeous day. Oh, by the way, like and subscribe. You know the drill, right?